From the center of the galaxy, this here is ForceCenter, show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napsok.
I'm Jen Lando.
Oh, did we lose Joseph? I think we lost.
No.
We cannot hear you, sir. No. All right. We're live. You can go in and out. You can come back in or whatever. But you can hear us. Okay. he's gonna leave.
There you
and then
go.
He's coming back. There you go. It's Technical Monday is what it is. Technical Problem Monday has been we had some recording issues. We're here live, but we are here for Star Wars questions. We have a great question that Joseph is going to read once he can figure that out. And then we are going to dive into that, but also going to take your questions here. So if you have a question that's related to the topic or you have a statement, grab that. And then we'll also go ahead and take your other set of questions. All right. How are we looking?
I think I'm back.
You're back. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good mind bit.
Well,
good mind bit because I fell for it.
Yes. Happy to be here and heard.
It heard. We just want to be heard.
Just want to be heard. That's all, man. We're just normal men.
Normal men. Great questions already coming here. So yeah, as I said, as I was saying with Joseph getting in, we're getting a big question. We'll take your if you got any super chats, super thanks, those kind of things. Absolutely great. Helps the show. We can see the questions easier because of the bright colors, but not necessary to join the conversation. We're just happy you're here hanging out with us here on a Monday. So there you go. Should we just dive in, Joseph, and risk losing a connection again?
Before it's too late. I've got nothing but caveats to start. One, I just ate a hummus wrap for my lunch, so I might suddenly get some hummus in my throat and have to clear my throat. I apologize. It's disgusting, but true. The second caveat is everyone will hear this question. All these questions always come to us from patrons on Patreon. If you're a patron, I encourage you to go leave a question. This is a lovely, heartfelt, as you'll hear, question from Antonio Mendiola. And I wanted for the thumbnail to try to boil it down. So it is a much broader question than just the question of would Anakin have been a good father? But I needed something short. And frankly, I kind of thought that's maybe where our conversation might end up. But as always, there is a lot more nuance to Antonio's question. All right, here we go. Antonio says, hello, ForceCenter friends. As I write this, on June 30th, 2025, my fiance is about to be induced into labor for our first child. And because I always think of everything in terms of Star Wars, it's making me think about how Anakin never got to have this experience when it was time for Luke and Leia to be born. So my question is, how do you think Anakin would have handled the situation if he was there when Padme went into labor? Let's pretend turning to the dark side didn't happen. Anakin is still a Jedi and Padme carried the twins to full term. Would Anakin have told anyone? Would Obi-Wan be at the hospital to support? Ahsoka, Rex, anyone? By the time you read this, our daughter will be in this world. I will watch the live stream for this question while I hold her. Thank you all for everything. May the Force be with you. Thank you, Antonio, for this wonderful, heartfelt question. And I feel like in a really kind way, bringing us in our Star Wars rantings into this very, very special moment in time of your life. So thank you, Antonio. For any general reactions to this question before we really get into the meat of it.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations. You've taken your first step into a larger world. You're not going to get any sleep. That's okay. Sleep when the baby sleeps, all that stuff. Make sure that you get your daughter on a bottle so that you can share the feeding, because that really helps. It really helps. Where do we go? I'm seeing so many comments. People are saying that he would be a great dad. He wouldn't be a great dad. I'm thinking of just like the actual delivery room process. And I don't know if I'd want him in there. I feel like he'd be a really emotional wreck. Freaking out in the doctors, the nurses, and it just would be a lot. And then once the twins were delivered, I think he'd calm down. He'd be at peace. They do the skin to skin, as they say, and he'd be a great dad. I'm gonna be optimistic, and he'd be a great dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ken, where do you go with the any general reaction to the question and Antonio's initial question of Anakin present at the birth?
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if in his what if, he's suggesting that he didn't fall to the dark side, but I'm seeing that Anakin's still maybe struggling with some big things. This is happening during a stressful time. So let's say he's still fighting, the Emperor's still out there, or the future Emperor, whatever's going on. I'm trying to set that aside and just say, all right, Anakin's in there. I think Jen's read on it is kind of right, of like, he seems like, and I don't just mean this for like sitcom comic dad jokes, but like, he'd be very protective of Padme. And if she's going through any kind of pain, any kind of complications, him, crushing an Uba droid might be in the cards. Like, yeah. I think. Oh no!
Yeah. How cold is that device? Yeah, you can force push that droid.
Yeah, but I also think there's something. Again, I'm going on this idea that he hasn't fallen in the dark side, and the stuff as we know hasn't played out. I think he would have a moment of zen. I think he would, once the twins are in the world, a lot of other things would fade away. There's the other questions we can get into about what he'd tell, who would know, who would be there, all those kind of things. That might be where some of the problems maybe arise. But I think in that moment, I think the Anakin that we know and love from that era, the good parts of him, would be present.
Yeah, I agree in the big picture. I think being present for the birth, I think it would be similar to some of the great Clone Wars moments we see where he is kind of trying to parent Ahsoka, and the love and the passion and the concern for her is always there. It just doesn't get dialed into like stern big brother, or like, oh wait, no, you need something different from me, and I can take a deep breath and I can get into this gear that you need me to be in and truly be there for you, which is ultimately like his whole thing of his genuine love for Padme turned into his selfless love for Padme turned into a selfish fear of losing her. It isn't loving Padme that got him. It was the fear of losing her. So if he could really tap into that light side of himself and go deep breath, I think of the way my mom would comfort me after a hard day at Watto's. And that's the energy I need in the delivery room, the soothing Anakin. Then he would be the soothingest guy on the planet if he could get into that gear, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. In chat, Jamie Burrows said, I think his relationship with Ahsoka is a great snapshot. Yeah, you see the strands over there. It's not about perfection here with him. It's I just rewatched the Ahsoka series, and his stuff with her is I think the best part of the series. It's the heart of the series, and yeah, you see it. It's there. It's present. That's part of the tragedy, right? That's part. This wasn't a bad dude that just got worse. He was that kid. He was that good soul who fell for the wrong reason. So I mean, falling for any reason, it's falling. But fell for those attachment reasons. So I think he'd be good.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of what ifs of like, okay, well, how does this? What else is going on in the galaxy that this is possible? And Anakin still, ostensibly on the light side, could actually be there for the births. So let's talk about a couple of sort of what if scenarios. I'm really intrigued by the scenario where Mace is like, you're right, Anakin. We need to arrest him. And the galaxy is still in utter turmoil, right? Because like half the galaxy believes the Jedi, believes Palpatine's talking points from prison after he got sprung by his lawyers and gave a press conference that the Jedi are the evil ones trying to overthrow the galaxy. Meanwhile, Clone Wars are still raging on, and Anakin still maybe wants some answers or some help from Palpatine, but he's listening to his better angels and he's not going to him. But also he's like, oh, and by the way, Obi-Wan knows the truth. Ahsoka knows the truth. I need to be there for my wife, and I got to finally deal with this other real big question of, hey, do I give up being a Jedi to be there for the birth of my kids? So, Jen, where do you go with some of those what ifs? If it was that kind of complicated world of confusion that he was living in, do you think he would have got to the point where saying being a husband and a father is more important than how I navigate being a Jedi or being a member of the Jedi Order?
Right. That would be a real challenge. I think that being a husband and a parent would really test his patience. It would test. You have to let go of a lot of things. You can't have as much control. So many things are out of your control. And there is a lot of compromises to be made. And I think like, how old is Anakin? I'm trying to remember. He's young, right?
Mhm.
He's young.
He's
20s,
young.
early 20s, yeah.
And that's the other thing, is that might cause some problems down the road where he has a midlife Jedi crisis. Maybe then he's like, what am I doing? How did we get here? I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say 22, but yes, 23. So, I mean, that's the other great thing with this great mythic tale of Anakin and his choice to fall. Like, how many 23-year-olds do you trust to make really good choices?
I'm going to join a pop punk band. And I'm going to hit the road, man.
Yeah.
Your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until 24, 25. So,
I mean, I'm still waiting, but yeah.
So Ken, what do you feel about how Anakin would, if he had seen through Palpatine and resisted that temptation? He still has 8 million problems. The number one being, can I walk away from the Jedi Order? Should I walk away from the Jedi Order? Or should I try to change the order from inside? Like, how do you think he handles that first challenge to being a good parent, which is being honest that you're a parent?
Yeah, well, I think that is the first problem, and I'm not putting it on the shoulders of Obi-Wan. I think he'd try to approach it with love and compassion. But you know Mace, Kiadi. Well, let's just say Kiadi's gone. But Mace survives the Palpatine thing goes different. You know those folks. You know who the Jedi were. They'd be like, this is just a violation of the rules there, Anakin. This is something, and that would be that I think he would go Ronin. I think he would leave. I think he would choose to maybe go to the Naboo High Country, raise the kids, and do good deeds from then. I don't think he turns his back on necessarily the problems in the galaxy, but I think his loyalty would be to those kids. He still probably is working through the attachment issues or the fear of loss, what I kind of call sometimes the negative attachment that parents can form, where you're more worried. Yes, you don't want anything bad to happen to your kids, but you're more worried about your reaction to their problems than the problems that the kids are facing. So I think he still have those struggles. I think he'd leave. I think he would be one of the lost 21 now.
Yeah. Nick Arcus says Anakin wanted to have his blue milk and drink it too. Want to be a married man? Great. Awesome. Do that. Just be honest and voluntarily withdraw from their order of priorities. Yeah, no, I think, and as many people pointed out, he's got a lot of trauma. It's not like he's had a grumpy day on Revenge of the Sith. He's been through a lot. And I think that, I would love to believe that Obi-Wan would have, and Ahsoka, well, maybe even Ahsoka would have been able to be like, you can still have the values of a Jedi and you can still help people and walk away from the order. So just go tell the council the truth and just say, I need people in my life, and I have these people in my life, and I'm sorry I'm lied, but I'm going to do this. And if you need to kick me out, you need to kick me out, but you do you. Yeah. Be like, you taught me that I'm only in control of my choices. So here's my choice. I'm a father and a husband. Yeah. Now, council, you can lecture me. You can do whatever you want. That's your decision. Here's my decision. Be some healthy talk.
I like Auntie Snips coming in with some advice, Advice from Dad.
Yeah. And then I think, it would be very interesting if Palpatine was still trying to whisper in his ear of like the worst, like all the, fan fiction that I've ever seen is just like, what if Anakin and Padme had lived, and pictures of them playing on the beach with Obi-Wan as their awkward third family member. Ahsoka would have been there too, and it would have been great. Who knows? Maybe Dexter would have got involved. They would have went and visited the Lars on Tatooine as fun summer vacations. All those things.
Oh, we have to go to Tatooine again. It's so hot.
Tatooine summer camp. That's what would have happened. Honestly, I think, as people are saying, like even if Padme was like, I'm not in the Senate anymore, and Anakin, I'm a Jedi anymore. I think it's in both of their natures to want to help people. I don't think they could hide So I think Luke and Leia would be left on Tatooine with the Lars a lot, while Anakin and Padme go on their missions.
Jen, does he leave the Order in your mind? What do you do? Do you send them to Tatooine?
The sad reality is it's more likely that he would somehow stay in the Order and Padme would have to give up her duties, which is, it's horrible that it often falls on the mother, whether it's society or whatnot. It's really, really hard to have a demanding career and raise kids. You need a lot of help. I'm sure that there are droid babysitters, I would imagine. Droid nannies, right? Because the
C-3PO,
yeah, right, exactly, C-3PO. But even C-3PO might get overwhelmed, and especially when they're babies, like, what do you do? So, yeah, I think that would cause a lot of problems because I don't think Padme doesn't want to give up her duties and her roles. I think that would be very challenging.
Yeah, I mean, she throws it out there in Revenge of the Sith that they could. But that's when the war is still going on and when she assumes that she would be thrown out anyway. So, but yeah, I don't think her sense of service or being a part of, making things better, I don't think. Yeah. Is 3PO fluent in baby, do you think, Jen? Do you think 3PO can translate Luke and Leia's screams of like, Luke made a mess in his space diaper and Leia's hungry? Does he know?
See, here's the thing. Like, it's just like AI, right? Like, it can mimic human behavior really, really well. But at the end of the day, nothing can replace like an old senora or an older woman who has helped raise lots of babies and who is like, don't worry, this is what you need to do when you pat them. This is how you burp them. They're crying because they have colic. Whatever it is, nothing takes away from that human experience. So I think C-3PO would get overwhelmed and they'd have to bring, I don't know, an older lady from the galaxy somewhere else.
Jira. Or if they're in the Naboo High Country, Grandma Naberry's there too as well. But
a lot of options. Yeah, there's really is a lot of extended family to call on. Ken, what do you think about? We can talk more about the Ahsoka of it all too. But what do you think of old Obi-Wan? If and the galaxy is still in turmoil in this what if Palpatine's still out there, that's still hanging in there, and there's the Jedi are needed, and Obi-Wan's not going anywhere. He's going to be a Jedi. Do you think he would be supportive of Anakin and saying like you gotta walk your path, and I'm sad to lose you?
Yeah, but I think
go for it.
I think he would. He already had that hunch anyways. He already kind of figured something was going on, and I think he knows he has the fears of what it could be, and in the story we get those fears. But I think he'd be supportive. I wonder if how much change this would drive in Obi-Wan with the Jedi Order himself. Not that Obi-Wan's going to leave, but if he'd be like, are we going to lose this guy, this powerful team member, this one who is out there making a difference simply because of this rule violation? It might be the one toe over the line too far for Obi-Wan on it. Again, I'm not suggesting he's leaving the Order, but I think he'd be supportive of his brother at this point. I think he'd understand. I think he'd try to find a way to make it work for both of them too. And yeah, Jen, you bring up both real world and probably galaxy related issues to what Padme would have to do. So maybe Obi-Wan can help with that path forward too. I don't know, but yeah, I think he'd be supportive. I think that, like I said, I think this would be the thing, not break him. You know what I mean? Not break him, but just be like, now I'm seeing things in a different light.
Jen, how do you feel Obi-Wan would react?
I like that idea that maybe he would say, you know what? I think that we need to change this rule. Because I have a lady friend too, and I.
By the way, Corky, come on.
Uncle Corky, yep.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful, although obviously it would complicate things. Would they be as selfless? It might be more challenging. So I think it would cause him to rethink things, or at least try to push for change.
Yeah, I think what I love about the characterization of Obi-Wan is that, I think he is not equipped to help be a parent, basically. Like, I always like the metaphor of like he just got out of college and now he had to adopt a 9-year-old. Like, he was not ready. And I think that's part of what the connection between Obi-Wan and Anakin and the tension is, that Anakin wants a father and Obi-Wan wants a younger brother, and they're not quite on the same page of what they need. And as a result, Obi-Wan does get grumpy with him a lot and just follow the rules. You're a really good Jedi. Just follow the rules and do what's right. But then when Anakin does do something creative or passionate because he cares, Obi-Wan grumbles and rolls his eyes, but sees the wisdom in what Anakin is doing. And I think that characterization in the Clone Wars, he tries to have that talk with Anakin about Padme in his bedroom in the Clone Wars, and like, me and Satine had a thing, and it's kind of too little, too late, and obviously he knows that something's going on between them. So I think he is on the precipice of being like, well, my grumpy instincts just want to yell at you to just be like, just follow the rules. But if I take a deep breath, the wisdom is follow your path. And if this isn't meant for you, it's not meant for you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I saw one was the, sorry. I am scrolling up because I didn't see it. But basically, like, hey, it also depends on what's going on in the galaxy. Anakin is valuable. I don't mean it in terms of an asset, but, to just simply lose that.
Well, I think that's what I think the Jedi would be debating the prophecy, because I think we didn't get a lot of it in the actual films, but I think a lot of the Jedi are like, philosophies are weird, and other Jedi are like, that's why we took in this kid that we thought was too old, was partially because of this prophecy. And he did help find, in my what if he helped find Palpatine and he got arrested, was that the prophecy? Was it answered? Like, I think there'd be a lot of prophecy debate.
Yes, like a lot of like, see, I told you he wasn't the chosen one. For he hath taken a bride. Violation of the rules.
To bring balance to the Force. 2 kids, bounce. Yeah. A lot of great thoughts here. If you see any that you want to share, Jen, feel free.
Yeah, this is a great point, Jeannie. I think being expelled from the Order would be devastating to Anakin. He wouldn't necessarily see it as becoming free. He would feel abandoned. Yeah, I think maybe initially he might be okay because you're in the fog of becoming a dad and whatnot. And then suddenly when that goes away, it's like, well, who am I? Like, you start to kind of like wrestle with your identity only being one thing. And I think he would miss that. He would miss his friends, his coworkers.
I got to go out with the boys tonight, Padme. Like, return him into.
I never really liked Daddy when we were working together, but he can put him back. Yeah,
gonna go with the Outlander Club. Yeah.
I mean, I think that is one of the elements that I really like in Revenge of the Sith, and all of the storytelling. But how much Palpatine stoked his ego. You are going to be the most powerful Jedi. Like, some of that power he desires is so that he can have the control to stop bad things from happening. But I think some of it is the danger of ego. Would he's sitting at home with 2 screaming Force sensitive babies, and he's watching the HoloNet and the rising star of the Jedi Order, some young upstart who looks, was the kid that he sadly kills in Revenge of the Sith. I'm forgetting the Source Bandim. Yeah, he's sitting there watching Source Bandim become the star of the Jedi Order. Does he resist some of those ego parts of the dark side?
Our pal Molly Damon, who's out there taking care of Myrtle the turtle in the backyard there. Anakin really struggled between wanting love and wanting power, and that doesn't sound like a great recipe for a new father. Sounds good to me.
That's very true. How much do you think, Ken, that he would put that on the kids? Like, we know that there are parents who sort of, I think, try to live through their children and their children's accomplishments. So would he be like on Luke and Leia to be like, start force lifting those rocks when you're 2, because now my ego is caught up in you?
You know, I don't necessarily see it in terms of just the Jedi. What you're suggesting is Luke Skywalker is going to be the next greatest pod racer. And,
yeah.
And Anakin's like, you're going to get out there. I don't want your life, Dad. You're going to get in that pod now. Dad, I don't want to.
Get back to Bigger's Canyon, kid. Yeah.
And Leia's like, all right, fine. I'll do it myself. I'll race the pod. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Jen, do you think Anakin would, all the big what ifs aside, what kind of dad is he?
Yeah, I want to believe he'd be a good dad, but the truth is, the mistake a lot of people make is thinking that a not so great partner is going to suddenly become a better person by having a kid. And it actually, it does. Oh man, because having kids is so stressful. Sometimes, like your patience, I cannot imagine. I mean, I don't want to go down a dark road, but like, I don't realistically, he probably would be a horrible father. He'd be controlling, potentially abusive. Like, I mean, we could go down that way, right? I won't. We're best case scenario, he'd be like the sports dad, like you're talking about, right? Who's like, you can't make us lose the game again, kid. Or like or one of those parents, like somebody said here, where they believe that their kid is force sensitive. So I don't know. We're not going to go down there. That's too real world. We'll pretend
too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously the actual storytelling of Star Wars shows us that he has that in him. He chokes Padme in Revenge of the Sith. He beats the hell out of Rush Clovis. He's got some serious issues. So
the Tuskens, yeah, absolutely.
The Tuskens, obviously, yes. But I would think that at that point in the Clone Wars, the hero of the Clone Wars, one of the most famous Jedi, the most powerful Jedi, highest midichlorian count, walked away from the Jedi Order. Got ObiWan and Ahsoka there. I think that I don't think he goes on this path without facing some of his issues. And I think I certainly think he has it in him. But I think if he went down this path, Padme may be like, go back to the Jedi Order. You're not doing that around our kids, right? If you're none of this Rush Clovis attitude around the children,
I do worry they get divorced. I'm Jed. You just put it in my head. I think divorce has happened. We're gonna hire a good Jedi lawyer.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like if we look at a lot of these people, these characters that we love, none of them would be good parents. I don't think. Like I would not want Obi-Wan as my dad. He'd be too hard. He'd be so tough. I would not like that. I think Padme might be too strict. We saw what happened with Han. Leia, I think she'd be a caring mother, but she'd be very busy. Look at, Mon and Perrin. Like, well, I think Mon is a good mom, but she's just trying her best.
She's got a lot on her plate. Yeah.
She's got a lot on her plate.
Thanks,
right?
Perrin. Thanks, Perrin.
Right. Yeah.
Party Perrin.
Perrin's a terrible dad. So, Bail. Okay, there's a good dad. Bail and Breya. I would want to be raised by them.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Shmi. Yeah.
Shmi,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Shmi,
I've newfound respect too for Owen and Beru. I think the Kenobi series added a little more to what was behind their intentions. We meet Phil Brown as Owen is exactly supposed to be in A New Hope, crusty and he ain't leaving. But there's obviously a lot more to that. So I'll give them some credit. Yeah. Now, Jen, you just got me going through the Star Wars Rolodex on the best Star Wars parents. We need to focus on that.
I think this would have had a cascading effect to the Lars too, because I think Padme would have said, she would have connected even more with Beru and said, why don't you guys come visit us on Naboo? And Owen would not want to leave, but she'd pay for a trip for them to get to know the kids.
I'm not leaving Lancaster. What are you talking about?
Yep.
I'm not going down to Hollywood.
Naboo. Yeah.
Naboo.
There's good discussions in the chat about trauma and obviously in our real world, the real power of therapy and medication and all those things. Amaranth asks, do we see therapists or mind healers in canon? It is a very particular real world thing Star Wars has addressed and interpreted and have lots of Star Wars versions of real world things. But I think mind healers and therapy droids in therapy Ewoks we've seen in publishing,
Ewoks, yeah.
but not the more our real world. You sit and talk through your issues with a licensed human being.
So
Jen,
we need Lorraine Bracco to do her Sopranos act here, huh?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Molly brings up that Elzar Mann sort of does therapy with Orla in the High Republic, and it's great. That is very true. So I feel like Star Wars has sort of dealt with therapy and therapy droids, but more in publishing. How would you want to see that in live action, Jennifer?
That is really challenging. How do you see it? In some ways, the Jedi kind of feel like therapy for me, right? Where they're like, quiet your thoughts, all these self-help kind of things, right? But they would not necessarily make great therapists. So who would be the therapists of the galaxy? As somebody pointed out, it would have to be a human or alien, not a droid. I don't think that would be good. Who could be a good? I mean, so many of these characters would need therapy.
Maybe there's like the opposite of the Borg Gullet, like the Gore Bullet is an alien who makes you revisit your past trauma. Speaking of which, in a way, it's not good therapy, but the armor is presented as a kind of therapy. The trauma hammer that is either cultural, or there's something like spiritual, psychological in the ring of that hammer. But we've seen it with Din and Grogu. When your armor is being forged, you sit there and you listen, and the ring makes you face what you have been through. So I guess, Ken, would you like therapy from the armor?
Yeah, that's part of it. I definitely would like to sit there and take the hammer of trauma and kind of go through it. That is kind of what therapy is. I love this. Just thinking of examples of Star Wars therapy. That's Maz Kanata is kind of a version of that. I think J.B. Burroughs is really right. Hondo, later in life, crazy Uncle Hondo, could really help you unpack some crazy bleep. His stuff with Boba Fett is key to where we end up with Boba Fett. Also, therapy Rancor, the Danny Trejo's therapy scene with the Rancor and Boba Fett. I think Garza Fwip has some. She'd probably be our best. She's our Lorraine Bracco character. She, unfortunately, maybe she survived. In my mind, she survived. Open up a therapy.
Max Rebo got her out. Yeah,
Max Rebo got her out. But with the Black Crusade and stuff, all jokes aside, we love that show. We love that scene. All three of us have talked about that scene of Black Crusade, and you got to face change, and what was once cheered is no longer accepted, and you got to find yourself in that. Like, Book of Boba Fett's a therapy show. There we go. We stumbled on that.
And people are saying they don't trust the armor. Like, I get it. I have long been on the. I really hope at some point in the Mandalorian storytelling we deal with the fact that armor might be making some better choices now, but it definitely culty. Definitely hiding truths from the members of her group. But the hammer, I think, is just fascinating to me as an image of what is the starting point, is acknowledging your trauma. I think the Jedi in the High Republic, I'm so glad that Molly reminded us of that. I think the Jedi, that was probably a specialty you could go into back in the day. And I think it's a part of the portrait of the Jedi's failure that in the prequel era, in theory, Anakin is kind of going to Yoda for counsel, right? But to help him deal with, I have lost a lot of loved ones, and now I'm having dreams of another lost loved one. How should I handle it? And Yoda gives him, we've had this discussion, and people have very, very strong opinions, so I want to leave room for people's opinions. But in my opinion, Yoda just tells him what he needs to do, but he doesn't see that Anakin needs more. He needs help getting to that point of train yourself to let go of all you fear to lose is great. That's where you need to end up. But there's a sort of a lack of empathy for how damaged Anakin is. And I like to think that in previous eras of the Jedi, they weren't as busy just trying to get people to follow the rules, but helping people pass their trauma to get back to why of the rules.
Not putting it all on the feet of Yoda, those little cute feet of Yoda and Grogu and Yaddle. But yeah, this is kind of the Jedi Order at the time. They're not meeting people where they're at, right? Versus they're just kind of not even the dogma of it, but yeah, it's kind of played as that. But like, yeah, here's what you need to do, but I need to, you need to sometimes tailor it to the person you're talking to, or we all take it a different way. We're all from different perspectives, experiences, skill sets on how to manage some stuff. Yeah, I think it's one thing to just spout out some good advice, but if the person is not capable of taking it, not saying they're shutting down, but just like you need to make sure you're meeting them where they're at. Sorry, Yoda.
Yeah. Nick says, I will note that during that scene, Yoda never once chastised Anakin for having a personal connection close to him. It's very true. I don't want to turn this into a Yoda bashing session. I think Yoda was trying to be there for Anakin, but I just think that he did not. It was a swing and a miss for me. He gave him good advice, but he didn't see that that's not exactly what Anakin needed. Is just a reminder of the big picture rules, but a path to get there. Is my opinion. Jen, do you have any 2025 Yoda hot takes?
Oh, with Yoda, no. I was envisioning whether or not I would actually want therapists shown on screen in a Star Wars movie or show. And I thought, no, I think that's like what a character like Yoda kind of function as, is like this wise mentor person who can like help you navigate these problems and can see what issues you have and how you can deal with them, right? Or maybe they don't present you with the solutions, but they help you come to the solutions on your own. And I think that's what I like in Star Wars. I could see therapists being in Andor. I could definitely see a therapist type role in Andor, but otherwise I'm good with it being more like mystical and like a Maz or Yoda or whatnot.
I think Maz is very, very. Maz. I mean, she just gives both Finn and Rey like, here, I'm holding up a mirror, and here are options. Like the belonging you seek is you can't have it behind you, but you could have it ahead of you, and like it's a plot point, and it's Luke, but it's also just great advice. Sorry, I interrupted you, Ken.
No, two things come to mind. What you're saying, Jen. Mandalorian season 3, we have with Dr. Pershing and kind of the rehabilitation program. We get to see it. We get to see how it's sterile and maybe ineffective because the droids are maybe leading the way there. But then also, we had the discussion a couple weeks ago about the Force healer and the Force in Andor. I thought that was a great, realistic way of how it actually would be delivered, and also how it would be received. Cassian in that world, especially at that time, just going, what is this? What is this crazy stuff this person talking about? No, I don't accept it. And how many times you have conversations with people in your life who have maybe more of a spiritual lean or more spiritual bent, and they say things to you, and it's sometimes hard to make that big leap to meet them at that spot. So it's kind of, that was to me one of the more realistic depictions of advice and therapy and beliefs and how to go forward with it.
Yeah, I think Star Wars is pretty great about showing people needing to face their trauma, but I think I'm okay with it being told in different ways, either through mentors like Yoda and Maz Kanata or the Force healer, or friends and family helping you face the things that you need to face. I think I like the publishing and sometimes the animated side being a little bit more granular in its sort of one-to-one Star Wars to the real world, because it has the room to do that. And a lot of the things that we get that are very much like, I mean, there's nowhere near the volume in live action representation of HoloNet that like they've got an internet, Kindle store, cable television, combination in the HoloNet that everybody's talking about constantly in the publishing side of things. And it's only a small presence in live action.
You just made me think, too, in the publishing side, in the Alphabet Squadron, Yirka Quell and the former torture droid turned kind of therapist droid, too. That was an interesting depiction of it. Yeah,
this is straight up, therapy droid. Yep. Yeah. Ken, you seeing any questions or comments that you wanted to share?
We got some general ones too. We'll get to physics buddy Joe. Anakin's downfall was due to his absolute passion for those he loved. So I think he would have been a great father if that was the path he chose. Yeah, and I think it's all about the giving up the attachment side of it. And I don't on the news show tomorrow I share some personal stuff of love and attachment and how I think it's just sometimes misunderstood. What the Jedi are saying is very misunderstood in our real world, not in the galaxy. I think in our real world, people have misunderstanding and some issues with it there. But I think if Anakin could overcome that, and yes, am I speaking of personal experience, my own Edie Karn? Yes, I've run into that a lot in my life, where the passion and the love for me is sometimes a little less than the fear. And if Anakin could overcome that, I think, like you see in Ahsoka, the stuff with Ahsoka, it's a weird world between worlds kind of version of it. But I think there's a great father there. It's more of an older brother kind of vibe with Ahsoka. But I think that would be my evidence to the court that he could maybe figure it out at one point and be a good father.
I think that's very good. I think one of the things I love about that Ahsoka episode is I do think he is trying to be there for her in a selfless way. I think he realizes that he needs to let the dark side manifest in order for her to face it. And I like the way it's directed and the way Hayden acts it when he shakes off the dark side and comes back to himself just always really moves me, because it feels like he selflessly did something awful to himself because Ahsoka needed it in that moment. That seems like a selfless parent moment in a very weird metaphysical mystic way.
Jen, what's your best metaphysical or mystic parenting advice?
I don't know. I think age helps. When I think of the scenes of Anakin and Ahsoka, it's like you see a glimpse of what a great dad he would be. But it's like, when you date someone and you're younger and you're like, there's a good person there. They're just too young and making not so great choices and whatnot. Right. And then 10 years go by and you're like, okay, they've grown up a little bit. They've gotten it out of their system. I speak from experience. And you start to settle down and whatnot. Although you're more tired as a parent, I will say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that, but I see it.
Yeah,
directly.
Would Anakin's midi-chlorian count go down?
He wouldn't care.
I don't think that's how it works, but that's really funny to imagine. It's like, well, I'm older now and I'm down several thousand.
Yeah. I used to be good with lightsabers. Back in my day, you would see me with a lightsaber, man.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. It's also, he would be, as a lot of people saying, extremely loving, extremely protective. I think he would be a helicopter parent who's worried about every little thing. But I also think he'd be trying to get them to, pod race at 3 years old. So on one hand, very protective. He'd be protective of anybody else putting them in danger. And I think he would put them in danger constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeannie from Tahini, I think Anakin's inability to regulate his emotions would further affect his relationship with Padme, and that would trickle down to the twins. It's not looking good for Anakin today.
No.
Even in normal in a what if where there's some victories for the New Republic or the Republic. Poor Anakin. I mean, not poor Anakin. He made choices. He does.
He made choices, and it's all choices. For a lot of me for this is like, if he could make better choices, could he make enough of them? To be there in the way he needed to be.
Yeah, love that. Cameron Stewart says, Anakin sitting on the couch, raising the twins, watching the HoloNet, starts getting ads for you. Yeah. Some other comments there, too. We got Michael McCartsel. The good detective checking in. Despite all the fanfic, fan art about it, being a father wouldn't have been the solution to his issues. He needed to deal with his issues first, and only then would he be a good dad. And that's you kind of touched upon that, Jen. What is there is going to be there. It doesn't magically go away without work, right?
Yep. Let's see. We got the super chat. Should we grab that?
Absolutely.
From Igor the Mad. Thank you very much. Very kind. I think Anakin would be a bad parent for teens. He's too overbearing for teen Leia and Luke, but I also think Padme would have trouble with toddlers because you can't reason with them. It's very funny to think of Padme inviting her 2-year-olds to like a peace conference. Like, let's sign a treaty. I think she would be a good mom, though.
think she would
Jennifer,
be,
what do you think about Anakin and Padme being different kind of parents based on the age of the children?
Oh, yeah. Padme would have a difficult time. I think that Luke and Leia might be very high-spirited toddlers climbing all over things, and she'd be like overwhelmed by that and wanting for them to be proper little children. Yeah, that would be a real struggle. But then she'd be the one that would help in the teen years, being the voice of reason, listening without judgment, and he would be the one, putting the lightsaber through the wall or something. I have no idea.
Well, the best depiction we have now is the Kenobi series, where you got, precocious Leia, a little rambunctious, a little, wanting to explore and not sure of her identity yet. And she's very young, but that's kind of the point of it. And then you got Luke pretending to fly a spaceship, wearing goggles, and just kind of being Luke. So Padme, love to see Padme in the middle of that.
Yeah, and I think, I think some of those things are essential to who they are. I mean, certainly it's environment, right? But I think some of those are essential to who they are. So definitely be some navigating that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, this is funny. Not just climbing. If they've been together, I bet they would have encouraged each other's force sensitivity. Oh no, that's the last thing you need with two-year-olds or 3-year-olds causing problems. Oh,
how would it work? Is it like they want to get the cookie jar and Leia's organizing it, kind of having Luke use his raw powers, where hers are a little bit more, subdued and controlled. So she's driving, if we can get those cookies, if you use your skills, Luke, like is that how it plays out in your mind, Leia?
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course, like they're not there yet. And so the cookie jar would break, it get all over the place. And then they would start to go and they would cut their feet. And then, oh my gosh, forget it.
And Anakin's down at the old pod race factory, just hanging out with his buddies,
Just picturing the scene in Rise of Skywalker with Rey and Kylo both pulling on the transport and having both Luke and Leia's little baby hands reaching up for the cookie jar, and suddenly it shatters.
It's like Grogu times I don't know what.
Yeah.
If Anakin had walked away from the Order, and Anakin and Padme can't resist helping people, so maybe they go off and do things from time to time, and Ahsoka or the Lars, and they stay with the kids, whatever. Do you think Anakin would have wanted Luke and Leia, or do you think Padme would have wanted Luke and Leia to be in the Jedi Order? Or would it have been a clean break of Team Skywalker Amidala is out? Have a good time, Jedi, but not for us. Ken?
I think the battle might have been between, I think, Luke and Anakin, of Luke wanting to do it. Anakin saying no, finding a new way. I think they would have had more. I'm thinking even just like in the Acolyte, where you got, Osha and May, just a different perspective on the issue. I think Leia would have been a little more pragmatic. I think she would have been a young senator anyways. I think that would follow that. But I could see Luke and Anakin fighting over that, where Anakin's too scarred from what happened, but Luke wants to give it a go, and maybe Anakin has to let him go and let him be a Jedi.
Yeah. It still has Uncle Obi-Wan hanging out going, I'll teach you.
Yeah, but then Janini brings up a great I don't think they would have taken another older Skywalker kid. We're good with that. No. We're good with that name.
No. And the Jedi Order might be in trouble anyway. I mean, like, if they did arrest Palpatine, man, he would have been on absolute full court press. The Jedi are evil, and he would get a lot of people in the galaxy to believe him. So the Jedi Order might have crumbled anyway if they.
Yeah. There's some examples in the sports world where there's a famous pro athlete dad who then goes coaching, and then you got the kid who's maybe just as talented but carries the stigma of the father before them, and some teams don't want to work with it. It can get to those places. I can see Anakin being that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other comments that you see that you wanted to share or address, Jen?
I was just thinking about the athletes. Let's see. we kind of answered that. I don't know. You find one.
Okay.
My brain is all over the place.
We got this from JB. Could the birth of Luca turn Anakin away from the dark side, healed him in some way? And that was at the start of this episode is kind of where I was thinking, like, you know, we're bringing a lot of real world and a lot of fun real world stuff. But like, I you know, and I agree with you. I want to caveat, Jen. Like, yeah, it's not easy to change, and who you are might be who you are. You got to do a lot of work on it. And I don't know if Anakin has or be willing to, but those kids, there might be that awakening moment. They might have that focus. You always hear parents. I got friends recently, you know, had kids, and one of them later in his life, nearly 50, has his first kid, and it's like suddenly it all comes into focus for me. I think I could have seen that with Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Or like Alan says, Luke cuts off some heads, and great Anakin scolds him. Young Luke replies, "I learned it from watching you." That's when you start to see some of your quirky traits in your kids, and you're like, oh shoot, whether they've genetically inherited it or like you have unintentionally shown that behavior. How how I handle anger, my kids watch that. Like it's wild, and you're like, oh shoot. And some people, you know, they can't control it, obviously for a variety of reasons. But yeah, it really forces you to look at some of your poor choices and wants you to be a better person.
Mm-hmm.
You're still early in the game, Jen, right? You know, you're not. You're, you know, hate to say, you know, sorry, you got a long haul still. No, but you got double digits on at least one of the kids now, right? So, but is there that seeing things yourself maybe reflected in the kids like you're talking about, does that lead to kind of self-reflection and change at all? I'm just thinking of Anakin. If something like that comes up, if Anakin is still struggling with things of like, oh, I see it now, can I correct that? Because we maybe as kids sometimes see it. I'm you know, to peel back the curtain, looking at how my dad deals with a lot of things and I'm going, oh, that's why I'm in some of the spots I'm in. Whether it was learned or hardwired into me, I react to my career in the same way he did, and I don't want to, and love him, but don't want to end up in that spot. So is it reversed at all? Can Anakin learn enough from these kids to change? Do you face that?
Yeah, it depends on what it is. I think along those lines, like I've learned the language that we use is really powerful. So I always told myself, I'm a terrible cook. I'm not a good cook. I don't know how to cook, blah, blah, blah. I have been saying that for years. I don't know where it started from. I just have never really tried cooking. And after a while, I really, really believed it. And I started saying it around my kids. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that, because I don't want them to be telling themselves things like that, right? So now I've started trying to cook and trying to bake, and I'm watching my language, and I'm healing my own like issues about cooking, which is, it's silly, but it really is about being able to like provide for yourself, being able to like, you know, bring things for like school functions, as opposed to me like having to spend a ton of money buying baked goods. Long story short, yeah, people can change if it's something like, I think like that. Now, if like I had an abusive parent who talked to me and said really negative things, unintentionally, I might do the same thing to my kids. And that's where you need like some therapy to come in. You need a Maz Kanata to come in and talk with every week, because that's much more ingrained, right?
No, yeah, I mean, sorry, this is getting real, but like, yeah, sometimes there's some things about me that I've said, and it's like, or realizations I've had even in my therapy times where, you know, I saw my parents as people versus parents, and there was healing in that, but they took a little, not even offense, but it was understandably uncomfortable to be like, oh, so I failed? Like, no, I'm not saying you failed. I'm just saying you were a human, and so you were going to make mistakes, and I have now empathy for you on your journey. But you can choose how to deal with that. You know, if Anakin's faced with these truths, does he want to face it? I think Padme's capable of that, but is Anakin doing it? And it is silly. It was Vetnik, Ethan saying this. It absolutely does. I see my son, and he's me to a T. He's autistic and has ADD. I don't realize it now. I'm probably on the spectrum and never knew it. Now I learn stuff about myself. I am starting to explore the ADD side, that journey, and learning some things, and then hearing myself describe some things, and then hearing my mom complain about my dad. I was like, hey, I got an idea. I think I know what's happening. And they're in the 70s and don't want to face it. So my fear would be that Anakin would learn, to tie it to Star Wars, Anakin would learn some stuff, but is he capable of changing?
Yeah. From the personal realm, I will give a vote of confidence to Anakin that maybe he would be like my dad. My dad was not perfect. He made lots of mistakes, and my mom took a lot of time pointing them out. So I grew up very aware of my father's shortcomings. But my dad was about Anakin's age. He was 22, and he already had another son before. He was 22 when he had me, 19 when he had my brother. Very young parents. So in terms of the realization of they're humans, each year older I get, and I was like, and by now I was in college when I was my dad's age, kind of thing. But I've come to understand my dad did not get a lot of support in terms of the kind of things you're talking about, Jennifer, of self-confidence, of being told, go out and try something. You can be good at it. Don't be hard on yourself. Go out there and try. And it's one of the things he's told me is like, I didn't know anything, but that was the one thing I decided is I'm going to encourage you and your brother that you can do things. And now he responded to his own trauma by being like, I am not going to subject that on my children. So to tie that back to Anakin, if Anakin had that insight and said, I make mistakes because I fear that people will leave me. I fear being abandoned. I fear being unloved. I fear that circumstances will take my loved ones away. I'm going to make sure that my children always know that they're loved. And even if something changes in the galaxy, my love will never change for you. If I die tomorrow, my love will never change for you. I'm always with you. You're never alone. If he gave them exactly what he didn't have, the way my dad did for me, I think even with all his flaws, that would make him a good dad.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Osvetnik follows up with a great comment here. Anakin's dad is the Force. Talk about pressure. Yeah.
The best presence from the Force.
Going back to our question, our statement from JB that kind of started this thread, James Riley says, in a way, the birth of the twins did turn Anakin from the dark side. It just took a while. And maybe even kind of what you're talking about, Joseph. It is kind of a long haul with choices along the way.
Yeah. I think the people in chat have raised the very good Star Wars and real life question of, hey, what is a good parent? That is, a thing we all have to wrestle with, because I think we can definitely get some sort of programming of this is the way parents are, and good parents should do this and that, and yes, but also they're all human and they're all going to be flawed in different ways.
Indeed.
All right, Ken, do you see anything else that you wanted to cover? I think we had a couple of directly Anakin dad questions.
Yeah, and I wanted to maybe transition us out of the Anakin of it all, but Cameron Stewart asks on the topic of parents, if you had to be someone's parent in Star Wars, who would you want your kid to be? Luke, Leia, Grogu, Omega, Ben. I honestly, for that list, I know there's other choices. I'm going with Omega. Omega seems, I don't know, say that the winner. That's not fair to everyone on that list is pretty good. And Ben has some issues. But Omega, I'd go Omega.
In terms of just ease, right? I mean, I have not been a parent. I have been, in uncle and an older brother type figure to folks, and sure, it's easier when they want you there. And Omega wants you there. Omega's interested in what you have to say. There's not a bunch of breaking down the walls. So yeah, Omega.
Yeah, Omega's too. She's like the perfect child. She's like a what they would call they have they say golden child with babies. Like she would sleep through the night. She'd be perfect, right? That's not that was not my turning. So I'm thinking I could go with either Luke or Leia, but my heart says Leia. I think that she's curious, she's fun, she's kind, she's caring, she loves people. She would make me a better person, and I would love being her mama. Oh, wouldn't that be neat? I have two wonderful children, one named Alea. So there you go. That's about as close as I get.
Yeah, no, Leia is a great choice too. Yes, she is. Yeah, inquisitive and thoughtful, and
Yeah, indeed.
Little
Trying to think who the worst one is, and I don't know. Might be Boba Fett at one point. I don't know, but he comes around. I don't know.
Ben would be really challenging.
Ben was too much of his father. Too much.
Yeah, I mean, it must be hard to live up to your dad when you are genetically actually your dad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Be me exactly, kid, and don't mess it up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff there. A couple follow-ups.
Fair enough, Lydia. Meanwhile, Hunter turns to the camera with a 1,000-yard stare. Fair enough.
That's good. Some other good answers too. Ahsoka, yeah, that's a good one too. Love that. All right, couple. Should we do these out of the topic ones here and round up?
Yeah.
For the day. Dennis Gill checking in. Thanks, Dennis, for checking in. Is there a Star Wars character that you could picture their voice with the famous actor? For me, I picture Jackson the Rabbit's voice similar to Roger Rabbit, voiced by Charles Fleischer. I have done stand-up with Charles Fleischer, and that is a journey. Yeah, that's actually great. I'll take that. Who you got, Jen? Anyone comes to mind?
Oh, let's see. I already pitched. Didn't I pitch Ryan Reynolds for Jackson? So, was that? I can't remember.
I think
one
you
of them.
did.
Yeah, I did. I think I did. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Pass.
I'm looking up a name. Yeah, okay. Is because I have been rewatching these films and I'm a fan. I like the voice actor who does the voice of Ghostface in the Scream movies, Roger Jackson. I'd be happy to hear as much as I adore Ian McDermott, of course, and would never want him actually replaced. It'd be pretty funny to hear the voice of Ghostface scream, saying "Hello, Skywalker."
Yeah, I don't know if because I'm trying to think of a Star Wars character that really hasn't been depicted in live action.
Right.
Like Jackson. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah, no, your answer's good. I'm just like, I'm drawing a blank of even those type of characters. Who would want to see voiced in the series, and who's over the top.
I mean, is Elzar Mann Benedict Cumberbatch? Not in appearance, but maybe in voice.
Yeah, a little bit, and then Matthew McConaughey, I think, is the template for at least 5 Jedi in the High Republic and other things. So I think that could work.
Yeah,
I got one. So Kimiko Glenn, she was from Orange is the New Black. She is the voice of Kif on Disney Plus, which we love that show. Such a funny actor. And what was the Ewok that was the splicer? Was it Pikpa?
Pikpa.
Yeah.
I would love to see her as an Ewok, maybe Pikpa. I think she could bring a lot of humor to the role. Oh, it'd be so fun. That'd be really fun.
That's good. I think we could have Vin Diesel as Geode, just silence.
And that would piss off his rival, The Rock, who doesn't actually get to play a rock.
Osvetic has a great question. Who voices Plagueis, Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Oh, they'll put Roger Jackson in there. There we go.
Andy Serkis.
What's your favorite fantasy movie?
Circus. I would go back in time. I'm not saying not with AI. No, seriously, I would go back in time and I'd pull Orson Welles forward to voice Plagueis.
Yeah.
His last role is a planet in Transformers. So that'll work. All right, final question of the day. We're running it overtime. Dennis comes back with this one. Outside of a brief appearance in the Bad Batch and Aftermath, what is the Empire's relationship with the Zygerians? Do they help rebuild their slave empire behind the scenes, or are they wiped out? So the Zygerians have run all through a lot of the animated world and shows. So going forward.
Yeah. I think it's all about what benefits the Empire. I mean, I know there's the Bad Batch episode where the Zygerians are happy because, okay, well, the laws are gone. We're gonna do what we want to do. And I think the Empire's relationship with them would be similar to the criminal syndicates, as it's portrayed in Solo, of letting them run wild and doing business with them helps the Empire. So if letting the Zygerians run wild helps the Empire, they'll let them do it. If the Zygerians are stepping on the Empire's toes, they'll crack down on them. Is what I think.
Yeah, whatever works for the Empire, indeed, is the answer. And I think they'll turn the blind eyes as long as it's helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Andy Linden, we see this fun question. We'll make a note of it for somewhere else because we are running overtime.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a very good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And going to the Plagueis of it all, Will McLean has a good suggestion of Ralph Ineson. Plagueis is some other bad person. Love Ralph Ineson. Love him as Galactus. He's got such a deep voice. I struggle to understand him in any of his roles, but I love him in all his roles.
He's so good, but he always remains the real jerk from the British office. So I had a little bump on Galactus being like, okay. And now you're going to be mean to people in Slough, aren't you?
Finchy, indeed. He's great. He's great in Game of Thrones. But I always say, first night, Richard Gere, Julia Ormond, Sean Connery, Ralph Ineson's one of the villains. He's great in that.
Oh, that's
amazing.
Wow.
There you go. All right. I think that's it. We're out of here. A little overtime for us. News tomorrow. We'll have our thoughts on Liam Neeson sitting down and talking about things. And also on the 50th anniversary of Star Wars: New Hope. All that there tomorrow on the news show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we're live here again Friday, 2 p.m. the Pacific for our July big live stream in August. Stay tuned for that. All right. We'll see y'all. You can find us down below. The normal sign out. I forgot. We're late. We're overtime. You know where to find us. You know where we exist. See you next time. Bye.